2013 GSTL Season 1. NS Hosa, Axiom Acer, MVP, FX Open, LGIM, Azubu, Prime, Startail.
Welcome back to the GSTL. It's time for the OGS player, the former OGS player, Vine, someone we've seen a long time ago, see if he can prove himself in an entirely new expansion.
In Heart of the Swarm, he has to take this game if he wants to put Zooboo back onto the scoreboard. Right now they are down one game, which is not the end of days, but at the same time it can be a dire situation in best of 7 format. If you lose momentum, if you are suddenly down 2 maps, then things can spiral out of control very fast.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in our new format, which is a best of 7. You only have 4 players you can use, and you lose 2 games in a row, that's half of your tools gone. You can only rely on so many people. When you get to the playoffs, that changes. You have 5 players you can use, going to best of 9, but you know, that 1 player difference actually is huge. It doesn't seem like it if you just look at it. It's like, oh, 4 players versus 5, but it's actually quite significant.
So if this is the first GSTL match that you guys watched this season, then there are a few things that you need to know. First of all, we changed, as just mentioned, from a best of 9 to a best of 7 format. Up to when we have the playoffs, then we will go back to best of 9. And another thing is that we have a round-robin format, which means that these teams are not only fighting for the win in the match, but also for every single point. Because at the end of the season, when you're tied with another teams in wins, everyone is just looking at the map score. Yeah. So every single map that you take is important. You can't fool around here. Every game counts. And this means that Azubu, and especially the Azubu coach, has a lot of trust into the abilities of Wine to take this game.
Exactly. I mean, it's something that we haven't seen yet. We talked about this a little bit before the break, but you sly dog. How'd you get on camera?
It's Puppy Prime.
I guess that's what we're going to call it from now on.
PP.
Yeah, PP. But yeah, we talked about this before. It's a new game, and this is how we're going to find out just how good Vines is, how well he's been training. We saw him in Wings of Liberty, but he was not a top-tier player. His most memorable moments were probably cannon rushing on Steps of War and the open seasons. I remember those games.
How cool would it be if he starts into Out of the Swarm with a Karen rush on Belcher Vested?
Yeah, against a Terran player. It could happen. Anything could happen.
He's not Tails, though.
No, he's not Tails.
But still, he is definitely, in my opinion, he is definitely a sniper in here. He wants to take out Supernova right now, and he must have been doing really well in the in-house matches and also on ladder if the coach has the trust in him to send him out against Supernova when they're already down 1 game. He's the one who has to take the game right now. If he loses and there are only 2 players left, I think one of them is going to be Symbol. Who's going to be the second one? Genius, maybe Violet, we're going to find out. First of all, we're heading into our Protoss versus Terran though. Match number 1 at the GSTL match between Azubu and Prime, between Vines and Beyond. Brought to you by Color. Starting to the top left is the second player for Azubu. It is
Azubu Vines.
No longer capitalizing all the letters in his ID, only capitalizing the V. He used to use all caps.
And to the bottom right, even though my thoughts always jump to Supernova, it is of course not him. He already lost. This is the Terran player for the Prime team. This is
Beyond Prime.
You know, it was always a mystery when Vines was playing originally, whether his ID was actually Vines or if he was trying to be Venus. Because the ID always said Venus, but...
And we talked about this in the past. If you want to say finesse, for example, then the spelling in Korean is very much the same than when you spell Vines. So we never really had an idea how to pronounce it. Street Fighter Boys didn't know either, but apparently Ken figured it out.
Yeah, if you guys want to learn a little bit of Korean right now, I'll tell you right now that there's no V sound in the Korean alphabet. So oftentimes use the P sound instead, and the same is true of F. So those sounds are fairly similar. Ask any German, he'll tell you, but...
Oh wow, burn. Right there. We need to have a talk later.
But look at this, we have a gas coming out for Beyond, much more common in Heart of the Swarm. In Wings of Liberty, it was usually just kind of the one rack expand thing.
You know, the German accent is actually much more known for us not being able to pronounce TH.
That's true.
There's this famous ad where We talked about this light tower on stream, I feel. There's a light tower and there's a new guy, basically, and he gets a call from one of the ships,
yes.
and the ship is calling in and is like, Mayday, Mayday, we are sinking, we are sinking. And he's like, well, that's awesome. What are you thinking about?
I've seen this ad actually. I saw it in high school in my German class. My teacher thought it was really funny.
Oh, believe me, that's not only true for your teacher. Everyone in Germany had quite a laugh about this ad.
I always wondered. I was like, do people in Germany think this is funny or they find this insulting? I don't know, but it turns out, I guess they think it's pretty funny.
No, it's really funny. I mean, we enjoyed this quite a lot.
We have a Reaper.
Yep.
From Beyond. He's not going to be rushing out any sort of Widow Mines or drop play. He's just going to get a quick scout here.
Exactly. Trying to find out what's going on here. The Reaper is an excellent tool. It has been changed quite a bit. Coming from Wings of Liberty now into Heart of the Swarm. Doesn't do as much damage to light armored units anymore as it did in the past. Very mobile. Regenerates hit points when not in combat. So a really great unit to just open up a game, finding out what your opponent does, and then reacting accordingly.
Yep. It's a very fast unit. And if he had seen that probe, he could have killed it easily and then scouted. And that's just the kind of frustration that a Protoss will have to deal with. Before the Stalker is out, it can be really scary if your opponent gets a quick Reaper. But as long as you micro your probes well, you're not going to lose anything. And in this case, he should lose no probes. And the Reaper should survive as well. He just wants to see how much gas are you mining?
Yep.
Do you have a Nexus?
The Stalker is already out, so there's no way for the Reaper to do anything at all. The probe actually comes in and sees the building. He sees everything that's being built here, so he knows it was in vision.
He sees that CC, which is really important for him to know. He also sees Stim is on the way. So he knows that it's not going to be a factory play at all behind this command center. He's not going to be facing fast drops and a CC. It's just going to be normal bio play.
Yeah, and we have now the expansion already being built for the Protoss here, which was scouted by the Reaper too.
You can never keep a secret from a Reaper, man. That's how they work.
It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. You can try, but there is only so much that you can do.
Yeah, Reapers, they know where Naniwa's going. They know what's going on with all the rumors.
Yeah.
The Reapers, they're really into gossip, actually. That's what you don't know about Reapers. They like to talk.
The thing about Reapers, on the other hand, is though you have to be willing to sacrifice them if you really want to find out what's going on. Depending on the matchup, of course.
Reapers can never resist, man. They just want to jump in there. They're like, I don't know what's on the top of this cliff. Well, let's jump and find out.
Yeah, it doesn't always work to their advantage.
There could be 20 stalkers up there, but
could be a chest of gold.
I guess I'm gonna find out what's there. I gotta tell Beyond.
Well, right now they already are trying to find out what's going on in this game. The Reaper is still active on the map. We have a very fast +1 attack upgrade now for Beyond. Going into the engineering bay very early in the game, something that we've already seen in our first team matches here at the GSTL.
He could hit a pretty strong timing with Stim +1 and combat shields with a bunch of Marines with the reactors he's adding right now. Looks like that's what he's going to do. It's not going to be a more Wings of Liberty-esque build that his teammate Marine King popularized with Medivacs. I think he's going to hit before that. It's all up to him, though. He doesn't even have to attack, but he has that opportunity, and if he sees the moment like, hey, I'm going to stim in and attack you before you have this Colossi out, he may just do that. We saw it yesterday, in fact.
Talking about attacking, the Reaper just got away, the Stalker being a bit aggressive on the map, trying to move out and take the scouting unit down. And this is also one of the new things that we see now in the game. I'm not talking about the hallucination itself, but that you don't need to research the hallucination upgrade anymore. You can rely on it immediately when you have your first sentry. So Protoss players have been doing this a lot. Every Protoss player that feels like something might be going on here immediately just hallucinates Phoenix, sends it over, and you can hide nothing from those guys.
I had an idea for a Carbot video. I was like thinking, what if there was a Carbot video where Hallucinate Phoenix forces Zerg player to panic and start making a bunch of spore crawlers, and then suddenly Immortals show up? That would be
we always know, Wolf, there is no Protoss player out there that is above Bronze League that sends out a single Phoenix.
That's true, man. We know that. Well, this Reaper, wow, he got a kill.
He might get a second.
Kills. He has 3 kills. Who's that? That Reaper.
He gets another one.
He's like, I already know everything. Well, let's get out. He fails with that.
Yeah, that is the one task that he couldn't accomplish. But at least he takes down a few harvesters here, so that was really well done. That Reaper definitely worth his money. Not only because of the scouting information, but also because of this damage to the economy.
That's much more than a Reaper will normally do for you, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. What we have now is the Terran player going into the +1 armor upgrade, but the one disadvantage that he has, even though he went into early upgrades, is that he's still relying on a single engineering bay, whereas we have now the double forge. 4 Vines, who now is going into +1/+1, so he will be able to catch up here.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, Beyond sees with that Reaper what's going on in the main, and he sees the gates, and he decides he doesn't want to move out. He's going to wait for the medevacs before he does anything. He could have been already at the base now that combat shields are done, trying to put some pressure on against the sentries, but he wants to play this a little bit safe, and I like what Vines is doing here. He's showing the Immortal. He even hallucinates an additional Immortal, so he's basically faking Beyond out here. He wants Beyond to make the bunkers. He wants Beyond to play on the defensive, while he, meanwhile, spends a lot of chrono energy on getting these Colossi out, getting the upgrades out as well. This is a great fake by Vines.
Hallucination in general is something that we see a lot more often. It's not only used as a scouting tool in the early game, it's also something that a lot of players have been trying to use to fool their opponents. It's just so much more accessible right now that it's definitely worth the shot if you have the surplus in energy.
Yeah. You can see not a lot of chrono energy being used on probe production. He's really focused on the upgrades. He has 50 probes versus 48, which, yes, is a lead, but the lead could have been more significant if he was chrono boosting his economy the entire time. He's really trying to get these Colossi out.
Here comes the Colossus, and the job is already going strong, but the Colossus helps him out quite a bit here. Needs to micro those Marines back, and he's doing a great job, and he's trying to get in.
Oh my god, that split is so sick. He's like, I'm just going to take the Colossus out and get out of here.
He takes it. He actually takes the Colossus with a Marine job. That happens like barely at all.
It happens about as often as I find a $5 bill under my bed. Here comes an attack, though, at the natural, and he's going to be able to eliminate this Immortal, as well as some of those Stalkers. The Nexus Cannon is live.
Wow.
But he can go into the main base here if he wants to. The Mothership Core is now down. This is fast damage. He's down to 40 supply.
This is so strong. He does so much damage already. 27 Harvesters left against 50. This double job is taking Vines apart in this game.
Yeah, Vines is basically dead. He's down to 44 supply versus 88. It's literally double. Win behind Dark Shrine, I suppose, but I don't know what he's going to do here.
The thing is, like, every single time when you see a double job heading towards your base and you have one Colossus just popping out, you realize, okay, there are only Marines in there. You think, I'm fine. I have my Colossus out. Everything is going well. But then suddenly we have this sick split by Beyond. He's moving those Marines in all the corners, and when the Zealots are gone, he just moves in, closes the distance, and takes the Colossus out.
Yeah, usually if you fight a Colossus like that, it's not pure Marine. You've got some Marauders mixed in there, and he had so many Zealots too. He patiently splits. Once the Zealots are gone, runs in, hits that Colossus, knocks it down. That was really well played by Beyond. He took a drop that could have been pretty scary and made it into a game-ending potentially for Vines.
I don't think that Vines thought he would stick around here. I thought he would just pick up and leave. And now he's boosting again, and he drops on top of those Colossi. They are immediately being focused. The stim is going strong, and both of them are down.
Yeah, he's got nowhere to run. You know, when you've got two drops versus one Colossus, you can make it work. I suppose if you have two Colossi, if you have four medevacs, the same math applies.
GG! Beyond is on a roll at 2-0 already. Oh my god, things are becoming very, very scary here for Azubu.
Yeah. PP could not be more excited. And Beyond, he's looking happy. Beyond's not always one to show a lot of emotion. Oh!
Wolf, that was the most girly laugh that I have ever heard in my entire life.
I was speechless here. I want to say something about what just happened with that dog, and I'm like, that dog is like, listen, man, stop winning. I want to get in the booth. I gotta play. If you all kill, I swear I'll fight you again.
Puppy Prime wants to have his moment of fame. Coming back to Beyond, though. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty aggressive dog.
Yeah. That was actually, I didn't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I could tell.
You know why the Azubu coach is so scary? Is every time his team loses, his smile gets bigger. It's like he's got an extra card up his sleeve. He's about to pull it out and be like, wait a minute.
The thing is now, Jan is looking really, really strong, and I think at this point I'm really eating my own words. I really thought when we started into this match that Azubu might have a bit of momentum going for them, given their performance in the preseason, and also that the Prime players off late, in Heart of the Swarm, did not look as strong and dominant as they did back in Wings of Liberty. But right now, with a 2-0 already, Creator not in the booth just yet, Marine King hasn't played, and we still have so many good other players on the Prime bench, whereas Azubu is now down to the last two players, and these are now choices where it's very difficult to deal with. And if the Prime team was smart, they prepared some snipers for exactly the players that we are going to see right now.
you know, I feel like during the early stage of Heartless Storm, we are going to have some one-sided team matches potentially. This could be another one. We saw one yesterday. Sound got the all-kill, and it's hard to prepare. We talked about this so much, and it's something that has to be discussed. It's not something we can avoid talking about because it's so important. Nobody knows how Bjorn is playing in these matchups. So now do you send a Zerg out? What if Bjorn has a sick all-in prepared just in case?
The thing is, though, I don't expect that Azubu is going to roll over and die here. They have shown great fighting spirit, and that's exactly what we're going to see right now. Will it be Violet? Will we see Symbol? Who's it going to be? It looks like it might be Symbol here.
That could be San.
Could be San.
San is...
Nope. He's trolling. Is he?
Is he? San, no, you're supposed to... San, that was not the most efficient way to exit the booth. You're supposed to go out the other side.
Exactly. He's definitely not German.
Yeah, he
goes all the way to the left and around, and then he goes straight into the booth. So it is Sun. Once again, not really what I expected here, but still.
I don't know about these decisions today.
Well, he must have reason.
He must. And so now the second for us. But the thing is, the last game wasn't about a builder or loss. It wasn't about, oh, I should have got my Colossus out faster. It was about Bjorn's skill in this matchup with his drop ships and his multitasking. And Son is going to have to be the next level of Vines if he hopes to take this.
I usually just think that Vines misjudged the situation. He looked at this drop and he thought, well, I have the Colossus, I am fine. You are going to back off anyway. You don't want to lose your Marine, so you're just going to load into the medevac and then you will retreat. But Bjorn looked at it as well like, well, you know what? Actually, I think if I split well, I can take that Colossus down. And from that point on, everything just spiraled out of control. And Vines, this one situation, put him in such a disadvantage that he could never recover from it.
I agree. My mind lapsed there for a moment because I noticed that the Prime bench has not only Dunkin' Donuts but Krispy Kreme donuts. They've gotten the catch-all. It's like Barbie's on the phone with Gerard, and she's like, "Well, you guys want Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts?" And half the team was like really divided. She's like, "Ah, I guess I get both. I don't know what to do with you guys." What's up with that? I mean, seriously, who gets Krispy Kreme donuts and Dunkin' Donuts on the same day? How do you? I've never heard of such a thing. Why would you go to two different donut places? I mean, really?
I didn't even know that Crispy Donuts is a different donut place.
Yeah, it's different.
Up to the point where you just mentioned it. I thought it was just like one type of donut. I'm not a donut person, guys. I'm really, really sorry. I had no clue what you're talking about.
Well, I'll tell you guys, because Sound needs some time to set up. So Krispy Kreme is more specialized in glazed donuts. Sometimes they have chocolate on the top of it, but Dunkin' Donuts is more so they have plain donuts without sugar, for example. Well, not without sugar, but with less sugar, without frosting. They have solid chocolate donuts. And we've got some fans here writing in English. The best
that
team
was like
Azubu.
The worst transition that I've ever seen. But so what is the crispy donut thingy is better?
Well, for me, it's about my mood, and I can see why they got both. Because if you want to have a really good glazed donut, you want to go to Krispy Kreme. But if you want a solid chocolate donut that's chocolate all the way through, that's where you got to go to Dunkin' Donuts.
The only thing that you can ask me is who has the better coffee, because that's usually what I get. Who has the better coffee? I've never been to Crispy Donut.
Personally, I like Dunkin' Donuts coffee better. Okay. The whole concept of Dunkin' Donuts is to dunk your donut in the coffee, but I've never done that. That seems a little bit weird.
But the thing is, like with the coffee, you don't really count. First of all, you're American. You guys don't have a proper coffee. I'm sorry, guys. It's the truth.
I came to Korea and I found out that you're right.
And, and the second thing is, the only thing that you always drink at Dunkin' Donuts is orange juice.
May the Warhound be with you.
Oh, that was the Warhound. Warhound Prime.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, wow.
I really
Not
like
Puppy
that.
Prime. That is actually Warhound Prime, and there he is. He looks so much more dangerous right now that we know his name.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of brushing, though. His fur is getting a bit...
I would switch with that dog anytime.
The Korean production thought that was really funny. I heard a roar of laughter in our ears.
Either there Nasuro was saying, or it was like the weirdest coincidence ever.
Yeah, I agree with you on the coffee, though. When I was in America, the coffee just did
Not
simply...
on the switching places with the dog part? Now it's getting weird.
Well,
Oh, yeah, you would.
I would. But...
Coffee.
Going back to coffee just momentarily, There's a big cafe scene in Korea and in Japan as well as Hong Kong, where you've got cafes everywhere.
Kind of an understatement.
And in America, we don't have this. So if you want coffee, you kind of look up Starbucks on Google Maps.
Wait a second, I have to specify something here. You don't get a proper coffee here in Korea. So if you are thinking about European coffee that you then drink with a little bit of milk and sugar or just black, that doesn't exist. In all those things, you just get an Americano. That's like black coffee. That's the only thing that you might get.
That's what I get.
And it's only usually like one brand. But the coffee place that you have, they are all kind of Starbucks rip-offs. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, all these things. And we have like how many of them? Several thousand different brands.
Yeah.
And you can just walk for you walk for about 5 meters and you will see a new one. It's the first thing that people kind of realize when they come to Korea. You see a Starbucks, you walk another 5 meters, there's Dunkin' Donuts, you walk another 5 minutes, there's Nidia Coffee, then you go from Cafe Bene. It's like, it's crazy, really.
It's actually like, there's so many, it's expanding so quickly. You take like 9 to the nth power. That's like basically how many cafe shops are increasing and growing. You talked about chains. There are a lot of specialized coffee shops. They're not as common. There are certain areas. There's a street called Cafe Street. There's a bunch of cafes. You go there quite often. And it's a great place to sit down, have a date, have a meeting with a company, do an interview, video interview. It's like quite common in Korea to do video interviews in cafes, even with celebrities. And also there's plenty of places to also drink alcohol at cafes as well.
At cafes?
Yeah.
I've never been to one of those.
There's a few. There's a lot really close to my house.
For me, that doesn't really like match. Either you drink a coffee or you have alcohol. Drinking like both, I could not see myself drinking a coffee and then be like, oh my god, I want a beer now.
Usually, it's you do one or the other. Like you go there maybe at 9 p.m. and you're like, I want to get some whiskey right now, or I'm thinking of grabbing a beer.
Then you stay all night. It gets 7 o'clock in the morning. You're like, actually, right now, I could really do with a coffee.
Certainly, that is possible. There's a lot of variety in Korea as far as cafes go.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of variety.
We have cat and dog cafes as well.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that. Actually, a friend of mine, she's crazy about all these things, and she has so many like weird coffees that she found, and she like posts pictures and videos about them, and I always look at them like, whoa, where did you find that?
Yeah,
and I'm always a little bit reluctant. I would never go there. It looks scary, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, I have to admit that the dog cafes are really intense because you got a dog jumping on your table, knocking over your coffee. That was my experience. Cat cafe is a little bit more tame, but some of the cats fight.
There's a Hello Kitty cafe here too.
That's true.
Things like this.
Quite
so it's
popular.
like, I don't know, a little bit too pink for my taste.
Well, San's map choice is Whirlwind, a map that's much bigger and a lot easier to defend drop play that's so aggressive from jump because you have to go so much further across the map.
Can he do what his teammates couldn't? It is now game number 3 in the match between Azubu and Pennant at the GSTL. How long will?